And what is up, guys? Technicals Tinkers here, checking in with everybody. Welcome to all the new subscribers coming in. Appreciate you joining me on this little experiment. Checking in on our Cobras here, our main production workhorses. We're doing a fresh batch of shrouds. It's a crypto mining thing. It's a shroud that fits on a specific crypto miner that people can use to cool it down more better. We had another order come through last night and deplete our par stock. So we're just replenishing that on these. Over here on our P1P from Bamboo with the double AMS, we're doing another batch, or at least an attempt, of our baby Baphomet. Because I've been having some bad luck with this model. I'm not sure this layer shifted on his arm, but nowhere else in the model. And the supports are kind of unreliable, so I increased the threshold. So unfortunate there. And once again, if you're unfamiliar or new to the channel, again, welcome to all the new subscribers. I'm a business owner. I have a bunch of retail shops, nothing to do with 3D printing, but I already have this big, nice warehouse with lots of room, lots of power. So I'm already paying those overheads. I've been into 3D printing, and I can't get into a hobby unless there's like some money potential behind it because I'm greedy. So I've been experimenting with doing this 3D print thing with hopes of scaling it up to getting to the point where I actually need it to go in my warehouse and hire employees and whatnot, but I have to prove the concept first, and that's the stage I'm currently in. So be sure to subscribe if you want to follow along in this process. Some other things I got going on here, a little rotating sort of thing. Got one of my nicer NSFW models on it. Because I'm splitting up my Etsy, I'm going, keeping my current Etsy, Technicals Tinkers, for the crypto mining stuff, the utilitarian sort of thing, because I have another YouTube channel and people find the products there. Like this is one of the completed shrouds, the ones that we are currently printing on the Cobras. And I've got some other crypto mining, computer-y related type things, functional utilitarian stuff, but I've really been into this art stuff. So like giant Glock, giant 1911, these questionable sort of dolls, these art dolls, chain chomps, other types of art, non-functional type things. And so I'm splitting off into a second Etsy channel, been working on that. I have another, a lot of people seemed interested in the Bullet. The Bullet's been getting a lot of play, the Bullet video. So went ahead and got I just downloaded this one. This is a hollow point, a 9mm hollow point. Bullet. And so if you're unfamiliar with pews or ammo or whatever, you know, this is the shell casing, this is the bullet, the copper part. This is all one piece, you know, with the AMS light and A1, but it's broken up like this. That way when the bullet hits something, it breaks apart into a bunch of pieces, tumbles around, and does more damage. But a lot of people run hollows as their personal defense ammo of choice, and so I figured I'd pop one of those on, put it on the Etsy, and see how it does. Further to that, the Glock, as I mentioned yesterday, I noticed 4 people had the Glock in their cart, and I've got that thing listed at like $600. And so I figured maybe they're just wishful thinking, but maybe I should get ahead and be proactive instead of reactive and go ahead and start printing another Glock. And so I've got all the main components done. I need to remove the support. So you can see this is how I split the model and how I glue it together, and why it costs, why I charge so much is because if you've been subscribed, you know, this is not an art thing for me. I don't like painting. I don't like gluing. I don't like any post-production. I want to take things off a printer, put them in a box, and ship it. And so if I have to do those things, then it adds to the cost because my time's expensive. And that's not because I'm arrogant. It's just I have to keep scalability in mind. So I split it up into several parts so I can print it real super big. This is the top of the lower receiver. This is the bottom where the magazine goes in. And then one section of the slide. You can see here, I'm gonna have to paint this slide. Usually I don't paint it because the slides are always black, but you can see this color difference, same filament, same spool, but I got up to this point and I started getting nervous about a layer shift because it's so much weight moving back and forth. That's my working theory, is that Cobras or large models will layer shift based on the weight, how much weight is on the plate. How much weight is on the plate? So what I did is I switched right here to stable mode on the Cobra, which cuts the total speed like in half. And so that's more dwell time for the filament in the nozzle. And it's just amazing to me how much of a difference you really get in terms of, you know, going from, you know, that at speed to this going slower. So it's like, you know, this is coming out hotter. It doesn't seem to really make a difference in terms of the detail. Detail came out great. Haven't taken the supports off the back section of the slide yet. It's pretty gnarly, right? And I know a lot of people might be saying, oh, if you turn down your overhang threshold, if you do this and that, you won't need those supports. Pause. I understand, and I'm not as familiar with 3D printing as a lot of hobbyists out there, but as it pertains to like things like this, and this kind of this thinking goes into a lot of areas where, you know, in terms of waste or reducing filament, I'll do that wherever I can. But if it means that the model, that there's a chance it's increasing the risk of failure, then I would rather err on the side of caution, because filament is cheap. It's really cheap. And so when I see a lot of people doing recycling or making their own filament, I understand if you're at a big scale, making your own filament, it's probably worth it. But like if you're kind of like at a smaller scale, you know, whatever that means to you, it's worth it to buy pre-made filament that's reliable, because you can scale with that. You know, I can order this much, it costs this much, and when I sell it, I make this much profit, versus trying to make it yourself. There's a lot of variability in there, and you're increasing that risk for failure. So I'd much rather err on the side of caution. And this has detail on it. These rails here on the back of the slide, you know, they need support. I don't want them to fail, especially because it's at the top of the print. I don't want to get all the way up there and it fail. And that's way more waste than just spending an extra few pennies, literally pennies, on added support. So what I'll probably do is go ahead and glue all these up today, paint them, begrudgingly paint them, probably a different color on the lower than that green. Maybe I'll do a black on black, satin lower, flat black slide, because, you know, the top's always going to be like a matte color, flat color. Because I think most people that have Glocks run a black on black. Another thing I thought was cute too, and my favorite reason to even own a 3D printer, is for the around the house stuff. I'm a fixity kind of guy. I'm handy. I like doing things around the house. And so here's some video of these blinds that go on doors. I have 7 animals in my house, and they're always breaking things. And so these are the little brackets that hold the blinds to the door. That way when you open the door, the blinds don't swing around wildly. It holds the bottom in place. And so I guess an animal chewed on this, or yeah, that's clearly a animal chewing on it. It broke off. And so, you know, versus going around and trying to find one of these things, you know, I'm like, I could have this in 30 minutes. So what I did is I went in, and I'll show you. And so quite literally all I do was I take the little piece that I need, take my calipers and kind of measure out and make it into various, you know, sort of sections or blocks. And then I just come over here into Tinkercad, and, you know, like the bottom section here, you know, is kind of like this L configuration. And I make that, and then I make the standoff part, and then I just kind of measure the little peg that fits into the blinds, put it in here, did a little soft radius in case someone walks by and clips it with their leg, it doesn't scratch them up. You know, I could have probably on this section kind of done a better job sort of blending it in. Tinkercad's a little limited in its ability to sort of do that. But this is a utilitarian piece, and that's often the kind of thing that I'm doing when I'm fixing stuff around the house, making brackets and stuff like that. So for this, it actually worked perfectly. And 30 minutes later, because I sent one to one printer, sent one to the other, and it was 28 minutes in total print time. And let's take a look at the result. I don't want to wake up the dogs. I have awoken the dogs. But anyway, this is the door in question. And as you can see, fits right in, no issue whatsoever. Holds it nice and tight in place. And I can close the door, and obviously it's black and not white, but is anyone really gonna notice? To go back to sleep. Once again, that's the rub with the 3D print sort of thing. Lots of stuff going on, and I think a lot of people are probably eager to see me transition to the warehouse and make it into a proper business, if you want to just live vicariously through me. And so if you want to help enable that, just buy a bunch of my stuff, and then I'll be forced to put it in my warehouse. Because that's the sort of test, that's the litmus test that I have to get to, is to the point where I can't do it anymore. I don't have the room for it, and I almost absolutely have to. It's a necessity for me to get more printers. And then at that point, easy enough for me to say, okay, it's time to graduate. But I don't want to do it and get ahead of myself, and then suddenly I'm stuck with a whole bunch of printers that never materialized. So I'm going to continue doing it here at home. So I'd love to know what you think in the comments below. If there's a certain niche that you'd like to see, or that you think people would have success with, or if you think something like those window brackets is something even worthy of putting on Etsy because they're so small and easy. But then again, a lot of people have blinds stuck to their doors, so maybe there's a market for it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Be sure to like the video because it's the nice thing to do, and subscribe for more content like this. I'm The Technicals. See you next time.